I called him the grabber ghost because every time I would lean with my hand over the bed, he would grab my hand and try and play with me and pull me out. And I would be like, what? Or that he'd pull the sheets down from me, right? So I called him the grabber ghost because he was always trying to grab me. It was so cute. And he was always hiding in the corner, you know, and I never felt any malice or any hate or violence, or he was just there all the time. Today's topic will be a little bit longer, but it was requested of me during that last 2-hour live session, and it was about, let me check again what it was, my awakening journey. So that's what today's topic is going to be about, is my awakening, what had happened, and the journey that I went on, and I'm still on right now. So it'll be a little longer because I'm going to have to go into what we humans call the past, because it's going to give vital information as to, you know, this process that I've been going through, my awakening, and which really started with my death, my near-death experience in 2020. So let's just jump right into it. I hope you guys are doing well. I love all you guys. Once again, before I start, thank you for all your love and support. For all those that have contributed to the growth of this channel financially, I am beyond blessed. And I could not have ever asked for any of this in my wildest dreams, and I owe it all to you. And I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. All right? So let's talk about my awakening. There's a lot of things that I didn't discuss in my near-death experience, and things, or what you would call supernatural experiences. And many of you might know what I'm about to talk about. I was born in 1970, all right? April 28th, to be exact, 1970, Gen Xer, right here, okay? But from the time I was like 5 or 6 years old, I had a little companion. All right, well, what does that mean? We all have friends. No. This is kind of a supernatural, you would call a guide or an angel. Right? I called him the grabber ghost because every time I would lean with my hand over the bed, he would grab my hand and try and play with me and pull me out, you know, and I would be like, what, you know, or that he'd pull the sheets down from me, right? So I called him the grabber ghost because he was always trying to grab me. It was so cute. And he was always hiding in the corner, you know, and I never felt any malice or any hate or violence, or he was just there all the time. And I was like, I mentioned it to my mom and she laughed. Like, she just called it, you know, a silly dream or something like that. But, you know, it happened throughout the 70s, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8. That being was always there, that my guide. Even though I never saw him, his presence was always there. So from a very early age, I had an awakening process. Like, I was supposed to be doing something that I didn't know, you know. And I'm sure many parents out there, when their kids talk to you, well, I have, you know, my little friend, we're having tea all the time. Listen to them, okay? They are telling you the truth. There's somebody there. There's an angel there, one of their guides. They're visibly interacting with each other, okay? It's happening. It happens to a lot of your children. It happened to me. But that was in the 70s. And again, you guys know that I was abused as a child, so I became very hardened. Instead of choosing love, because I was an empath, a deep empath, man, did I care and love so much. And every time somebody would call me a bad name or want to fight, it was just devastating to me, just devastating. And the abuse was devastating, you know, and that's where a lot of my problems came in, where I chose the darkness, I chose the pain, I chose the suffering. Again, free will, ladies and gentlemen. We have it from the time we start creating our bodies. And as you know by the abortion video, your body is created by you. It's not real. It's simply a spacesuit, a suit that we have to get in to survive in this world, nothing more. Without us in it, it's simply a corpse. And right now, you're talking to a corpse, because without me in it, it's going to rot. Pure and simple. It's not real. So I had these, you know, not only was I a heavy empath from the time I was, you know, came into this life, I had my special friend, the grabber ghost, and a very overwhelming feeling that I was going to die young. In a kid's age, in a little one's age, you're thinking, I'm not going to make it to my, being a 10-year-old or a teen. Even in my teenage years in high school, overwhelming feeling that I was going to die young, and it never happened. So, my 20s come, that feeling was always there, but, you just push it back because nothing's happening. But growing up as a little kid in the 70s, I don't know if my parents were anything, to be honest with you. I don't ever remember seeing my mom go to church or talk about any type of religion. Or my father for that matter. I mean, I saw him go to church maybe once or twice with my grandparents, but other than that, it was non-existent in my immediate household unless it was with my grandparents. And I adored my grandparents. My grandmother and my grandfather spoiled me rotten. Out of all the grandkids, I was the chosen one. I was loved and adored. Why? I have no idea. Not my sister, not my two older cousins, just me, right? So I got my religious upbringing from my grandparents, which were Catholic. So the language that I knew was Catholicism. I was a Catholic. I was baptized Catholic, raised from my grandparents as a Catholic, firmly believed in the Bible, right? Good, bad, right and wrong, heaven and hell, all that shit. Believed in it. And then, growing up, I was in public school, so I was taken out of public school by my grandparents when I was still living in Illinois, a small town called Wakanda, Illinois, back in the 70s. I'm sure that town exists. I haven't been there. I still remember the damn address. I won't put it out there because that place doesn't need to be bombarded with, well, look at where Jason grew up. But I got that religious upbringing, so I went into Catholic school for 2 years. I had the Bible shoved down my throat. Pledge of Allegiance every morning, had to read that thing went through regular classes, but, for sometimes half the day it was religious stuff. Reading the Bible, having Bible stories, acting out plays, had that crap shoved down my throat for 2 years. Read that thing cover to cover numerous times. Was forced to be an altar boy, all of that stuff for 2 years. That's when I knew I was doomed. And then after that, when I went into 7th grade, I was in CCD, right? So I would get taken out of class to go to the church, learning the rosary, learning this, learning that, blah, blah, blah. Had this Catholicism shit just ramrodded right down me. And again, I knew I was doomed. There was no saving me. Why? I believed in the Bible. Bisexual experiences, you're an abomination to your father, you will burn in hell. And to all you religious thumpers out there, because I am no longer Catholic, and we'll get to that in a minute, you don't get out of jail free card like Jesus, to all you ignorant people out there who believe I am the truth, I am the life, I am the way, or shit. Okay? You don't get to get out of jail free card. That, I can go sit in church and be this good little boy and girl and come out and smack somebody around verbally, hit them, punch them, go to the, bar and suck down, all this booze and pull down your pants because you're horny and you get railed, and you're going to do it all over again. Come Sunday, you'll sit there and, I'm a good little girl. I know I'm forgiven. And then you're going to go do it all over again, right? Well, I just gave up. I knew I was doomed. There was, I had the abuse and all of that. So when I was, I'd say about 8 or 9 years old, 7th or 8th, 8th grade, is my grandmother one summer, and I spent all my summers and holidays with them, my grandparents. I loved my grandparents. They taught me everything. My grandmother taught me how to cook, clean, drive a car, get my driver's license. My parents really had nothing to do with other than coming home, forcing me to do chores, and I'd get up and go to school. A student, but it was my grandparents that taught me took me on vacations, did everything with me, my sister too, but so I grew up heavily in Catholicism, the only language that I knew. And by believing in that book, I knew I was doomed. So when she woke me up one Sunday to go to church, I kicked her hard told her, don't you ever fucking wake me up. Don't you ever wake me up again to go there. God does not care about me. He does not. I'll do this on my own. Don't you ever wake me up. And when I went back to bed, that was the last conversation I ever had with God. Ever spoke his name, ever. I didn't say think about him. I still believed in him, but I wanted nothing to do with him because clearly it was known that I was an abomination and I was unworthy of his love. And because I have free will, right? God did not come down here and pick me up and say, pat me on the butt and dust me off and say, come on, Jace, let's go. I love you. I'm here. And send me on my way. No, that's not what we came here to do. And I'm not going to get into that kind of stuff right now because this is about my, the process, of my awakening. So that was the last conversation I had with God or Jesus. Didn't care anymore. I did everything Jason's way, and sometimes that was violence. Did drugs, alcohol, drank, abused people left and right, including my oldest daughter. And there's no reason, there's a reason why she hates my guts. She has, in my opinion, every right to hate my guts. We're starting to talk now and rebuild a relationship, and I'm loving it, and I'm welcoming it, and I'm grateful for that. But I abused her physically very badly at times. And that was the second thing that happened. That was a spiritual thing, as I was beating her unmercifully for what I have no idea. She was a little girl, maybe 4 or 5, did something to piss me off, spilled a glass of milk or something, beating her, not fist, but a good ass whooping. And I was in full swing, and she was screaming. I was in full swing, and I heard it was Jason, stop. There was no one in the house but me and her, and it was right up here. And it was not a scary thing, but it was a comforting thing, like, Jason, stop. And full swing, I was like, I could feel it, this presence, And it was the last time I ever did that. But I was still verbally abusive to my wife, my first wife. She's at home now. She's transitioned home 10 years now. As I told you guys before early, that I wasn't a pleasant gentleman to be around, and it was true. I was lost in the pain. Again, I chose the darkness. I chose the suffering. I chose the pain. Not my father, not anybody else. I chose it. So what does it sound like to you guys? I'm choosing hell, right? Darkness, pain, suffering. Hell is a state of mind. You can create it right here on earth if you want it, or you can create the most beautiful dream in the world, however you want to live. I didn't know this at the time, but I was caught up in the pain. I wouldn't let go of the abuse. I wouldn't let go of the suffering. I chose it. Free will. Second time a spiritual thing happened to me. And I never laid a hand on her again, ever. Even my daughter that just turned 18. No. That was a very eye-opening experience. But then again, was that really, you're thinking you're in your 20s, like I'm 23 or 24, I was like, what the hell was that, thinking. But it was a divine intervention from my guides, or from my Archangel. And I would see orbs, I'd be up late at night watching things, and I would see like an orb travel down the top of the hallway. And I'm like, what the hell is that? But you're just too stupid. I chose the darkness, so I didn't allow the light in to fully comprehend what was happening to me, right? So my awakening had actually started very, very young, when I was very young. And it continued into my 20s and 30s. I would see orbs all the time. I would be up late, everybody would be asleep. I'd be watching something on TV in the dark, and I would see orbs, or I would see an orb go up through the ceiling, And of course, because there's really no house here or apartment, it's a matrix. It's not real. So all these things were happening to me, and I'm like, what? And you just boo-poo them up because you're stuck in the pain. I'm stuck in the suffering still. I will not let it go. And again, I'm in my 20s and 30s now, and, I'm having a very hard life, very hard, non-abundance. Just when you think you're getting ahead, I get knocked back down, and I'm struggling to eat and pay the bills, and, but it's me causing this that I didn't know at the time, because those are my thoughts. Your thoughts create your reality. And I'm having negative thoughts, so I'm bringing in negative energy, and it's going to create negative problems for me. It's clear as day now, but back then it's, like, why does this shit keep happening to me? Your thoughts create your reality, and if you're living in darkness, then that is what you're going to create, darkness. So when I talked about my video on twin flames, I had found my twin flame. And generally when twin flames, because I'm bringing up another very powerful experience that happened that I have never spoken about, ever. Not even to my twin flame. So I'm in my early 40s. I'm married to my second wife, which is now my ex, 10 years now. So it's like around 2013. So I was like 43 at the time. And I had started a new job as a counselor, working with disabled adults. And I actually love the job. It was a terribly awful paying job, but I really loved it. It was so rewarding. It was very stressful because you're working with severe cognitive issues, autism on, various levels on the spectrum. I was working with autistic kids, bipolar, sexually abused, all kinds of things. It was a very rewarding job. And then one day, in walks this breathtaking being. She was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and I just felt drawn to her like two magnets, like boom. And she saw me, and she smiled, and it was just an unbelievable feeling of connection, instantly connected. And we were instantly drawn to each other. She was married, I was married, so yes, an affair, which God does not care about, which I mentioned in the video. God does not hold a piece of paper saying that if you want to submit yourself legally and bind yourself through horrific laws, that's your problem. He doesn't acknowledge it. Again, I didn't know that at the time, but so we had met, and again, a beautiful relationship blossomed, one that we didn't think would happen, but it was unbelievably a love that I have never experienced in my life. It was meeting myself, my other half, right? And she felt the same way. And I became the runner first. I took off. I didn't know how to handle this. It was like, where did this come from? She tracked me down, and we started it again, and it was a beautiful 2 years. I mean, magnificent, and it was very intimate. It was very loving. It was a sharing that I have never experienced in my life. But one night, prior to us being intimate, we were at a work function, and then instead of going home, we stopped at a parking lot of Walmart, and we spent like 6 hours together. No shenanigans like that, but a spiritual thing happened to me that night, right? She'd crawled into my lap, and she wrapped her arms around me, and she put her head here. She did one of these numbers, looked up, and it was very comfortable, and I moved her face. And I immediately became fearful, not of what I was doing, but of who I was as a being. And I'm like, most beings will look at a beautiful woman and go, ooh, what has she got? The only thing going through my head at that time was like, I can't let her see me like this. She'll leave. She knows who I truly am. I said, how can I take care of you? You know? And it was right when I said that, I was like, how can I take care of you? It was a hand. It was huge. It felt huge. And it felt like it was going into a garbage bag. You know, like when you put your hand in a plastic bag to pick up dog poop, you know, whatever like that. That's what it felt like. So I felt something come in. Like it was a huge hand. I'm just huge. About up to here. And then I just ripped out, you know, I said that like that. And she opened her eyes. She goes, are you okay? And I said, yes. And I was tingly. And really, that is when the love began to overflow. And for her. And I began to really open up in ways that I had never done before. And I'm like, what just happened to me? What was that? You know, again, I'm not talking to God. I know I have not gone to church in 30 years. Okay, 30 years. Nope. So I'm like, what the hell is happening? So what happened in that moment, right, is I began to get rid of the negative energy and release it and let it go, right? I said, I don't want this. How can I take care of you? I don't want this anymore, right? Raising my vibration, raising my energy. So what did the non-physical do? They reached in, right? Because I said, I don't want it anymore. They took it out. That is the beginning of my awakening period, right? The things are starting to go. Now, this is like 2014. 6 years later, I would be dead. 2015 rolls around, we split up. She was scared, right? It's fearful when you love in a way that twin flames love. It can be terrifying, and it was terrifying. But when I let her go, when I said, you just go, I couldn't breathe for 6 months. I literally struggled for air. It was like my arms were chopped off, my legs were chopped off. Somebody had ripped out my heart. I couldn't breathe. It was brutal. I would rather go through dying again, that experience, than to go through missing or letting go of my twin flame. Any day of the week. It was brutal. So I went through very hard times. I became homeless. I was living in my vehicle. I was eating out of dumpsters. I was showering in porta potties. I would have a gallon of water and a plastic bucket, and as I'm throwing up, because you know what you're seeing in there, and I'm trying to shave and shower, and I'm vomiting all over the place. Had no place to sleep. I slept in my vehicle. I would travel around to different places, try and find a spot that I could sleep without police seeing me, so I could, you know, at least sleep. I went through hell, you know, but I was creating that. Again, I didn't know that, right? So I got back on my feet. I started, you know, a job and bouncing from job to job to job, couldn't hold a job. And I was like, she goes, you know, the problem with you is you're unreliable. And I'm like, now I know I'm not supposed to be in these jobs. I'm supposed to be a teacher, right? You know, every time I would try and take a job, it would be door shut. No, you know, listen to your higher self. And of course I wouldn't, because I'm not talking to myself. I'm not talking to God. I'm not opening myself up. I'm closed off, angry, pissed off, you know, and choosing to live in darkness. My choice. So the road continues to get, now I'm without my youngest, right? 2015, I'm divorced, coming up on 10 years. Found a place, found some jobs here and there. And then I moved into this place that I'm at now, and I've been here about 6 years now. So 2018, somewhere in there, I've been here. Nothing major happened in this time period, you know, when I was here. But 2 years later, March of 2020 rolls around, and we all know this, I die. We have this experience. People are talking about COVID. I'm thinking, all the shit that I've been through, I mean, I'm a guy. Nothing's going to happen to me, all right, period. I've survived head-on car crashes, beatings, you know, doing shit that I shouldn't, falling out of trees, falling out of buildings, no broken bones, no nothing. You have that, that invincibility thought in your head and in your mind, right? I was no different. So we had this meeting in the end of March at this job I just truly did not want to be in at all. I was miserable, hated every part of my existence. Again, not listening to my higher self. I didn't know it. I was caught up in the materialistic world, right? Money, pay the bills. I got to have a car. I got to have this. I got to have that. Right? So within that 2-week period, mid-March, right, I'm beginning to wake up with the taste of blood in my mouth. And I'm uberly tired. Like, why am I so tired? I wake up and I'm like, checking my, I didn't bite my tongue. Why do I have blood in my mouth? April 2nd rolls around. Sitting here on this very spot, watching the TV. And I had made myself a bagel sandwich. So I made a bagel, I made an egg, put an egg on there, some scallions on top, a little bit of cheese, took a couple bites. I was like, oh, what was that? And I'm like, that was horrible. I've never tasted anything like that. I go to take another bite and blood. I cough blood, bright red blood. Bright red, not dark blood like when you cut your finger. I'm talking bright pink blood. And it was terrible tasting. I had never tasted anything. And my sandwich is covered. And I'm like, what the? Coughing. Not throwing up, but just coughing. Right now my plate is full. I can't even see my sandwich. It's just soaked in blood. Grabbed my phone and I started going to the kitchen over there. And I'm like, I'm coughing up blood. And I'm like, and I'm frantically trying to FaceTime or talk to my ex-wife. The reason I was calling her, she's an RN. She would know what to do. And now I'm really tired. And I know I'm dying. There's no doubt about it. I can't breathe. I'm suffocating to death, and I'm in blood, basically. Right? And finally, I got a hold of her. And you know this through my near-death experience when I talked about it. She's like, finally answered the phone. She's like, what do you want? And I tried to speak to her, blood everywhere. And she jumped up and she's like, Jason. Right? Jason. And she was the first person to save my life because she hung up on me. And I was like, wow. Why couldn't our conversations go like that? Why do we have to fight? Why couldn't I was just going to go lay down. I have no clue what happened after that. None. How I got into the hospital, how I ended up where I was. Don't remember seeing anybody. Don't remember talking to anybody. Black, basically. And then I wake up, and as you guys know it, there was an undeniable presence in the right, the left-hand corner up by the TV, right? Dark out, tube in my mouth, hands strapped to the bed, feet strapped to the bed, IV right there in the carotid artery, stuff in the nose, tube, all the monitors going off, myriad of doctors everywhere, Jason, and I'm in excruciating pain. I mean, mind-altering pain. Every part of my body was in pain, a pain that I have never felt before. So if anybody says, oh, drowning is easy, bullshit. It's painful to have your lungs filled with water or whatever was going on. Okay. But they're leaning over this way and I'm trying to look at the TV over there, because there was somebody there. I could feel it. It was undeniable. And this is where the awakening really started to take place, as that being sitting there was my father, was God, knowing exactly what was going to transpire and take place, right? Because I clearly didn't get all the signs. I didn't put the puzzle pieces together, so I finally reached checkpoint Charlie, and now it's time to die. And this is what it takes to get you back on track? Well, hell, you're just a stubborn motherfucker. And I reached checkpoint Charlie, and there's Father waiting for me. I didn't know it at the time. I'm about to find out. Right? the whole time I'm there, that presence was there, and I'm beginning to heal, which was, according to my doctors, I should not be here. Every time I go in to a new place or whatever, and they look at my medical records, they're like, you shouldn't be here. I have to be. No, you should be dead. And she said, there was a 0.0001%, whatever that is, of you surviving. Do you understand that you're a miracle? You should not be sitting in my office. You should be dead. And I said, well, I was, and you won't believe where I was. So, as you all know, I get, tube out, catheter out, all that. Very weak. I couldn't move. I could barely move my head left and right. Nobody was in the room. And I got up on my hands and I was shaking, and you know the story. I cried out to God. First time I talked to him since 1978. 40-some years, over 40-some years later, I begged my Father not to die. Please, please, don't let me die. Please, I am sorry for abandoning you. I never stopped believing in you, but I stopped having a relationship with you, and I'm sorry. I said, Yeshua or Jesus, I'm sorry that I abandoned you as well, because the Catholicism is going through my head, right? Knowing where I'm about to go. And I begged and I said, please don't take my children from me. Please let me see my daughters. Please let me see my daughters. I love them so much, right? Then I talk about that special person, right? That special person is my twin flame, which I didn't know at the time was. I said, and I won't mention her name again. I said, please don't take her from me. Please. And I'm sobbing, ladies and gentlemen, uncontrollably sobbing. And I'm shaking uncontrollably just because I didn't have any strength to be up on my elbows. And I'm just talking to the TV, right? Nobody's in the room. And I'm like, please don't take her from me. Please, let me hold her hand. Please let me kiss her. One more time, please. Let me smell her breath. I want babies with her. I want to make love to her. Please don't take her from me. It was in my describing my love for this being. My nose is itching, so she's thinking about me, and I can feel her going through very difficult times right now. Very difficult times. She's getting a divorce. I can feel it. And I haven't spoken to her since 2020. No email, no text, nothing. And I can feel her. But it was in that moment of my unbridled love for her that I was gone. Out of my body instantly. No pop, no sound. I was standing at the top of the ceiling. I could see everything around me, starting from behind me. You know what? All the way around the ICU room. I saw everybody dying. I saw the nurses' stations, what they were wearing. They were leaned over on their desks, talking. And I'm still staring at the TV. I could see every blade of grass because I was up on the third story or something. But I could see every blade of grass in the field moving independently. I mean, it was like it was right here. I could see the serrations. I could see the most beautiful, magnificent green. In the color was flowing. It was the green that I have never seen. It was magnificent. It was beautiful, and I could see the outline of their soul, and how happy the grass was to see me, and then sending me love. Uber amounts of love. The trees too. I could see all the trees in their souls. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, I said it 1,000,000 times. They were outlined. I could see their soul, and they were happy to see me. Because remember, the grass, plants, trees, birds, bees, worms, snakes, they all have a soul. Carrots, cabbage, everything that is alive has a soul, has a purpose. And I was one with them all, instantly. I knew exactly where I was. And I said, I'm home. How would I know it was home if I'd never been there? It was as comfortable as you getting into your bed at night. It was that comfortable. I knew exactly who I was being held by, my Father. And as I merged with the light and the love that are simply no words to describe, in this horrific language, barbaric language that we have, nothing that can describe the love that was bestowed upon me from my Father and from home. They were very happy to see me, without doubt. And then the next thought that popped into my mind was, oh, what a beautiful day to die. Not a thought about that carcass laying down on the bed, which I had no love for or want. Didn't care. Didn't care about my children anymore. Didn't care about my true love. Meaning they were right where they needed to be at the time, even if it was without me. Everything around the world and the universe was right where it needed to be. It was perfect. Even though people, those beings were dying in the rooms next to me, they were going through exactly what they were meant to go through. Everything was beautiful and perfect and pure, innocent. I was one with everything within a trillionth of a second. Love was everything. I was love. I was the light. I was everything that has ever existed and will ever exist in a trillionth of a second. I was awakened to the truth of what we are, who we are. We are not human beings. We are not souls. Okay? We are consciousness. Pure and simple. Not a ball, not this. We are pure consciousness. And when I merged with the light, when I merged with that consciousness, I became one. And that was really the bitch slap that got me started when Yeshua showed up, and it was more love was bestowed upon me. It was unbelievable. There's just simply no way to describe. And it was an instant knowledge of knowing who that was. Didn't have to see a physical form or any kind of form. I recognized the energy instantly. My brother. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I felt ashamed because of who I was, what I had done, my physical mind, right? I was ashamed of myself. I judged myself. I promise you, you will judge yourself. There is judgment, but it will only come from you. It does not come from home. It does not come from your Father. It does not come from Yeshua. It does not come from your soulmates, your twins. It comes from you, because you're going to look at that situation and you go, damn, I could have done better. That's fathers. That's enough. Your judgment of yourself. When you say, damn, I missed it. I could have done that better. I didn't need to argue with him over something as stupid as that. Why did I fly off the handle? But in that same moment, I knew I had done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. And that I knew that everything down here was a lie. And that I was led astray by what I thought was supposed to be saving me. The Catholic Church was nothing more than a lie. A horrific lie that was meant to keep you in a low vibrational state, to make you keep living in fear that there is a human God standing up there ready to smite thee for any small infraction. when in fact this whole world is fake, a dream state. Keanu Reeves in the Matrix, when he plugged in and you see all the green lines, that's all this is. It's not real. My body isn't real. Your bodies aren't real. When you're creating a body in your mom's tummy, it's not real. There's nobody in it until you're in it for the last time. Then it becomes an inhabitable suit. Other than that, it's no different than a spacesuit. When an astronaut goes into space, he's got to wear it. We got to wear it when we're here. The reason I'm in a male vehicle is because what I need to accomplish in this timeline, it needs to be done in a male vehicle. That's it. Other than that, I could care less. And right now, I do care less about it. I don't care when this body dies. If you feed it to the pigs, feed it to sharks, burn it, could care less. It means nothing to me. I mean, I love you, buddy. I do. While I'm in it, I love you. And I thank you for everything. But other than that, no, I don't care. It meant nothing to me when I left it on that bed dying. It means nothing to me now. It's simply a suit. I don't identify myself as a Jeep Grand Cherokee when I get in it to go to the store. I don't identify myself as a male because I'm not. I'm neither male or female. All of you are neither male or female. You are pure consciousness, period. Your Father, that I call Father, because the love that was bestowed upon me for the millionth time, I give this question all the time. I call God Father. Oneness, all that I am you, I am, is also genderless. We are all genderless. But the love that was bestowed upon me was that, in my experience, that of a fatherly love. I was bestowed love that is indescribable from my Father. And I will continue to call him Father. As a matter of fact, Jesus called God Father. I and the Father are one. Which is Jesus saying, I am God. And when he was going to be stoned, is it not written in your law? I said, you are gods. Well, in the moment of my awakening, I realized by being one, I was God, a God. So when I came back into this physical realm, when Jesus pushed me back into my body and laid me back down on my bed, I woke up sometime later that, Father was still there, but, I didn't have that feeling anymore. And my awakening process was in full swing. I had to find out what happened to me. There was no way I could tell anybody in the hospital what had happened to me. They would think I was nuts. Lock me up, throw away the key, whatever you want to believe in. I went home. Here. Eviction notices. My car was repossessed. Had to sell all my furniture to find some food to eat, to keep the internet going, so I could find a job. Unemployment wouldn't pay me because, clearly they said, well, you were sick. I went 8 months. And finally I got the big payout in like October that year, but I went through living hell. But in that time, more spiritual things began to happen. Like 2 weeks after I had come home, still very weak, still learning how to walk and talk, better at it, but I was facing the opposite way. And like right next to me, as soon as I opened my eyes and went like that stretch, I felt somebody get off the side of my bed. Unmistakable. And I turned and looked. There was nobody there. And I'm like looking around so somebody was sitting with me while I was recovering and keeping me company and healing me, probably, somebody was there. Who? I don't know. It was a loving presence. I'd never, but when your partner or boyfriend, girlfriend, or your husband or wife, whatever, gets up out of the bed, whether you move or get up, that they got up. You can feel it. And that's what that feeling was. And then I began my research. Who wrote the Bible? you know. And then I was told to go to church, you know. So I went to my pastor, called up my pastor, wanted to have a meeting with him. Went to the meeting. He was horrified. I'm sobbing uncontrollably. I'm needing love. I'm needing hugs. I'm all alone. You know, I've got no one. My ex-wife wouldn't let me see my youngest. So I had nobody to talk to. I was all alone. And then the church abandoned me. He refused. I mean, he was like, and I was, why are you looking at me that way? I need help. Well, the reason he was looking at me that way is because I called him out on all the bullshit from the church and their lies, their misconception, their victimization and indoctrination that they keep everybody living in, keeping you small, living in fear. Fear is darkness. Fear is low vibrational energy. And that's where the church wants to keep you. They're not there to save you. And if you truly think that, then you are truly lost. Truly lost. And I wish you well on your journey, but he was horrified. Truly horrified. He told me that he wanted me to speak in front of the congregation and in front of the little guys and those, you know, teenagers and stuff. And I was ostracized. I was no longer welcome there. I was kicked out. No more phone calls, emails, nothing. And I was coming home. That's when it hit me. I was like, you mother. What I experienced was just confirmed. You're a lying sack of shit. The Catholic Church. And then I really dove into the Bible. Who wrote the Bible? Got into the Council of Nicaea, right? Where they decided which were to be the, you know, the chronicle scriptures of the Old Testament. Because even by the time of Yeshua, by the time of Christ, the Jews hadn't finally decided upon the books of the Old Scripture, right? It wasn't until the year 100 that the church finally decided upon the books of the Old Testament, right? On a side note of Jamni, I do believe. I could be mistaken, but not until the year 382 AD, in the were under the synod of I can't remember now, brain fart. Anyway, 382 Anno Domain. The church, the Catholic Church, right, came up with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the New Testament. So it's the Catholic Church that wrote the Bible, ladies and gentlemen. Not Jesus, not God. The Catholic Church wrote the Bible and said, we are giving you these scriptures. You abide by them. Okay? And it's your choice whether you choose to believe in them or not. I don't. I know for a fact. And I think the first copy of that Masoretic text is somewhere around the 10th century, early in the 10th century, give or take. All right? So you're taking the church's say-so on the Bible, which was written by rich, powerful, educated men, when most of society 2 millennia ago couldn't even sign their fucking name. They could read. Most of them couldn't even read. They could speak. That's why they went to church. Somebody could read to them. Ignorance. And you're dumb enough to believe it. I was dumb enough to believe it for 40 years. So it's you taking the church's say-so. I was shown the truth. That's when I told Catholicism to fuck off. Bye. I'm done with you. I don't need you. I don't need you in any way, shape, or form. None of you need the church or any religion. Religion separates. Spirituality brings us together. When I say I was one with everything, I was also one with all of you. Every single one of you. All right? Religion divides. Spirituality brings together. I was lost in religion. And when I left, I was free. I follow my Father. I meditate now twice a day. Sometimes not so much on the weekends, but generally during the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm up in the morning and at night, and I meditate, and I commune with my Father, and my manifestations are coming through. True. So, we're getting a little longer than I wanted, but that's all right. I struggled after my NDE. I thought I was pissed. I was like, how can you do this to somebody? I mean, you can't do that to somebody. That's not cool. You know, I mean, you can't give them something like that, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're back in this shithole body, and you're like, now you're stuck back into the bullshit. I'm like, that's not cool. I was mad. Yeah, I was severely depressed, angry at times, very angry. So this was now 2022. I'm still not meditating yet. This would take another year. But I woke up very emotional. It was a weekend. And it was Saturday morning, and I'm crying already when I woke up. I'm still feeling home like you would not believe. And I'm like an ungrateful 2-year-old that just got, you know, ice cream cone and candy. And I was like, why couldn't I come home? Why did you keep me in the hospital? Why couldn't I come home? Why couldn't I see the tunnel? Why couldn't I go through the tunnel? Why couldn't I come home? You know, but it was me, you know, creating that situation. Again, I didn't know it at the time, but, you know, and I'm like, so I meandered from my bedroom back there to this couch. No sooner than I laid my head down on this couch. It was like March 2022. I was pulled out of my body, like lightning fast. And it was a bright morning. It was like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. The sun was out, beautiful, you know, spring day here in Wisconsin. And I was pulled out of my body, and I was in pitch black. And I mean pitch black. The void, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm moving through this tunnel. And when I mean the void, no sound, no smell, but I am very consciously aware of who I am, right? And I'm like, and I'm traveling through, it had to be at the speed of light. It was just, there's no way to describe the void other than that's it. Void of everything, light, sound, anything. And what is the void, ladies and gentlemen? This came later with knowledge, but what is the void? It's heaven, or you call it heaven, I call it home. It's just bottom rung of heaven, or home. It's pure consciousness. And that's where you feel and find out so many, not so many, but you hear the near-death experiences that they had a bad or hellish experience. Howard Storm, others, right? Well, remember what I said. I still have my consciousness. Now, I'm not limited by the physical world anymore, right? So when I want to manifest something, it instantly appears. It doesn't take 5, 6 months or a year to manifest in front of you in the physical world, right? It instantly appears. Now, if you transition into the void in a negative feeling of fear, anger, hate, or you're holding on to, like Howard Storm says, I can't die. I have a good job. I have a lot of money. I'm prestigious. I'm a professor. I can't die, right? All fear-based. So what did he experience in the void as he was in the hospital too? Being, as he was saying, torn apart by demons. He was creating all of that in his mind, in his fear, right? It's like you going down, you're up at 1 o'clock in the morning, right? You're all alone and you're watching a scary movie and, oh, I want some ice cream real quick, right? And you run down, you have all the windows and doors open because it's a beautiful summer day and you're running down the stairs and boom, the light goes out and the door shuts. Bam! You go, instantly stand still. What was that? Right? Adrenaline pumping through your body. You're creating something that isn't there. It's the same fucking basement you walked into for 15 years. You know what's down there, but your mind is creating something that's not there. But in the void, it appears instantly, thus giving you the illusion of hell. Now, if he was thinking of puppy dogs and kitten cats, that's what would have appeared in front of him. But fear is powerful. He manifested evil. Evil is a human construct. All right? Evil is a gift humanity gave itself, nothing more. In that fear, he created a hellish experience. It wasn't only until he cried out to God or Jesus that the light appeared. Right? He created all of it in the void. Now, as I was crying out to God, my love for you and why couldn't I love this, and I was very high in vibration. So when I went into the void, there was no hellish experience. I was traveling through the tunnel. He was giving me everything I wanted. There's the tunnel. And way off in the distance, and I, again, no time, no pain. I'm feeling love, like the hospital. And I'm like, he hurt me. I'm going home. And off in the distance, and I could see it as crystal clear out of nowhere, was like a little 16th of an inch, a pinprick or a little line of pure white. Pure white. Now, I'm traveling. I'm not seeing any other souls, just an immense blackness. You know, one best way to describe it is if somebody sewed your eyes shut, put like 20 gauze pads on it, taped your head up, and stuck you 200 feet under the ground and buried you. That's the kind of darkness that I'm trying to explain to you, okay? And I'm traveling at an immense speed of light. And now this line is getting bigger. Now it's like an inch long, right? And now it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And now all of a sudden, all I see is white. How much time is taking place? Have no effing clue. None. And I'm inundated with all this love, and through the tunnel became like a swirl of grayish light. Wasn't all the way white, but it was like a grayish, not real dark, but it was a medium gray, light gray light coming through, spiraling. And I'm traveling, and all of a sudden I'm just encompassed in all this light. There's nothing but this beautiful, pure white light around me. Pure white light. And I'm feeling all the love. I'm like, I'm going home, right? And I got right up to that light, and I'm telling you, a nose hair. I mean, it was like right here, right there. You know, I could almost feel it. And I was back in my body, and I'm like, he's listening to me. He heard me. Right? Now, had I crossed into that light, I would have been home. And this body would have died, which this corpse, I wasn't in it, so it was being maintained by the non-physical, because I wasn't in it, otherwise it would have died. So the non-physical, while I was going home, was taking care of the body, the corpse. So I'm in it, right? And I'm like, all right. And then again, spiritual journey, listening to other near-death experiences, reading books, any kind of information that I could get was just coming through. I started talking about my stories on different channels. People were now starting to reach out to me. And then in 2023, two things happened that year. That was the first out-of-body experience. The second one came in March. 6 months later was my first meeting with Archangel Michael. I was in a place that I did not want to be, doing a job I had no desire to do. Typical morning, woke up, going to a place I didn't want to go. And I was in like a 500,000 square foot building. Sorry, my nose itch, and she's thinking about me. And as I was coming through this locked door, I had a key. I turned in and I shut the door and I started walking around the corner. And I looked over to the right to see if the maintenance room door was locked, and it wasn't. I turned around and there was somebody standing there, and I jumped. I'm like, holy shit. I was like, I'm thinking, how the hell did you get here? And he goes, hi. Big smile, you know. Very handsome man. Very handsome. Raggedy looking, like work clothes, you know, just in a factory kind of work clothes. Just he's walking arm all dirty and going in here. Beautiful square jaw. I mean, square, just beautiful. beautifully maintained, very short beard, shorter than this, very short, very meticulous, very short hair, brownish. Same thing with his beard, right? Just a beautiful being, you know. He's like, I'm gonna go in here and get cleaned up, and that's where I was going. So I walked in there, and we ended up talking about my near-death experience. And he never looked at me. He just put his head up like this and was smiling. And then he switched places from my right to my left. And then again, as I continued talking, he was just looking up and just glow about him, you know. And then he put his head and he looked at me and he goes, and he shook out his hand, right, like this to shake my hand. He goes, your name is Jason, right? And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. How do you know? I never mentioned my name. And I said, yes. And when I shook his hand, it was like cool. Like, you know, when you touch a dead body, you know, when you're at a funeral, that's what it felt like, right? It's just cool. But I didn't really pay much attention because the strength within him was ungodly. He literally could have crushed every bone in my hand and turned it to dust. That's how powerful he was. I mean, it was beyond power. He just kept smiling at me. And he said, Jason, it was a pleasure meeting you. And started walking away. He looked over his shoulder, smiling again, all smiles. He said, you'll hear from me soon. Then he opened up the door and walked out. I'm like, wait a minute, how do you know? What's your name? So I went out to go open up the door. Nobody. Walked out the second door. There's no way. All the doors were locked that he could have gotten anywhere. Nowhere. There was no sound. There was nothing. And I was like, and I'm feeling tired. I'm like, what the hell was that about? And I literally went upstairs. There was on a couch on like the second or third floor. I fell asleep for 2 or 3 hours. How the hell nobody found me and fired me? I have no idea. I got up and started to work, and it took me a couple of weeks. And I'm like, I saw a picture of somebody had listened to my near-death experience, and he showed me a picture that I had Archangel Michael tattooed. And I said, oh my God, that's the face. And I still have that picture. And I was like, that's him. And I realized that that was Archangel Michael. And that was my first meeting. Then came 2023, February. Or as a game, I don't know, a football game. It was the day DeMar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills made that tackle and he had cardiac arrest right then. He took one step and just fell down dead, right? That was my second out-of-body experience. It was a profound out-of-body experience, sitting right here again. Just feeling tired, and I laid back like this, put my head back like that, and I was just, and all of a sudden, oof, everything here disappeared. I was in another realm, on another planet. There was a figure walking towards me. I was on a beach. There was a bright, I don't know, sun or planet or whatever. It kind of looked like Star Wars. There was overlapping suns and moons, kind of like that kind of stuff right there. Magnificent, peaceful, beautiful. I could hear the ocean, the waves coming at me. You know, there was an ocean right there. And then again, I had this undeniable presence standing next to me as I'm walking. And I'm like, who are you? And he said, I'm Jeffrey. I'm your guide. I've always been with you. I started to laugh. I said, Jeffrey, man, that's the Toys R Us elephant, man. Or giraffe, excuse me, not elephant, giraffe. I said, I can't call you giraffe. I said, how about John? And again, it was a place that I have known my entire existence. I was at home. I was comfortable. I was at peace. No pain. Again, a sense of home, a sense of knowing exactly where I was. And I said, Jeffrey, how many times have I died? How many times have I been here? I said, he goes, the number was instantly given to me, over 3,200. I've died over 3,200 times. He goes, yes, you're ancient. And I was pulled back into my body, and I was back up on the couch. But this time, the whole stadium was empty. Dark. There were some commenters. The stadium lights were still on, but dark. Everybody was gone. And I'm like, what the hell does ancient mean? So I began that journey. And come to find out, I'm a chosen one. Not the chosen people. Like the Bible says, there's all of a sudden God chooses, these teams, fuck off. There's no chosen people. We're all one. We're all the same. But a chosen one is one that is specifically handpicked by Father to help humanity ascend, become stronger, guide them. So you choose a very difficult life, struggles beyond belief, only to, at the end, succeed, right? Become abundant in everything, love, wealth, and everything that is going to come to me very, very soon. I can feel it. Abundance of money. My twin flame is coming back. I am going to be the teacher that I set out to do. It is very close to happening. I know I'm at the end of this tower that's crashing down because I have, not only ascended during that time last year in August. It's now September, right? Yeah. So in August, my ascension process hit me hard, very hard. All of August, I lost a massive amount. I'm putting a little bit of weight on. I was like too skinny, but lost all that weight, went through hell, lost another job, getting ready to get kicked out of my apartment. Literally, the police were 2 days away from showing up and escorting me out of my apartment. That's how close I was. And when I mean that the non-physical will give you what you need when it's ready, and I'm talking when it's absolutely needed, it comes. All right. So, I learned in this time, not my ascension, but in my awakening, that I found a new love for myself. I love myself. I put myself first. And I've said this in my videos, you came here to work on you, and that is absolutely true. You come first. Not God, not your children, not your parents, not your soulmate, not your twin flame. You come first in every aspect, in every part of your life. And I love myself on an unprecedented level, something that I cannot describe, more so than my children. I will come first above my children. I know that sounds weird. Everything that you've been taught, that you're from the church, that you are supposed to sacrifice, bullshit. You sacrifice nothing. You work on you. And that is the belief that I have come to know to be true. To believe that the non-physical home has my back. So when I have been meditating for this last year, right, I have the utmost belief that it's going to happen. I believe without questions, without hesitations, without doubts. Even if my bank account says I'm in a negative, I'm in abundance. Abundance of wealth, prosperity, love, peace, health. Abundance. I have changed my way of thinking. I have reprogrammed my subconscious mind. And I know without question that it's coming. I can feel it. The other night, last Wednesday or Thursday, and I still haven't moved it. When I got done meditating and I woke up in the morning on the couch after like 2 hours, at the end of the couch, this feather was here. Okay. They were standing right there next to me. Simple sign from the guides. We're here. We hear you. You got it. Don't give up. It's on its way. Ladies and gentlemen, direct sign. I've been seeing repeating numbers on a massive scale. 111-222-0000000, 111-222-333-444-555-666-777-888-999-1010-1111-1212, 1313. Okay, massive amounts of numbers. Even if I'm gaming, those numbers appear. I'm looking at the clock. Those numbers appear. I'm seeing them on license plates. The other day, it was Thursday night on the way home from work, 6666. That's them talking to you. Okay. This is what I mean by not my ascension, but what I've talking about today. All right. And now all of a sudden tarot reading cards started showing up. Taurus, because I'm a Taurus, April 28th, right? And the changes that are coming in. And I never believed in any of that shit, and never in my life did I ever look any of that crap up. I thought it was a joke and a scam. Now all of a sudden, within the last month, that started showing up on my feed, and I never looked that up. And all this Taurus stuff started showing up. How can every single one of them be right? Right? There are no coincidences. It's a synchronicity. The numbers, the tarot card readings, the feeling that I'm feeling inside of my meditations and stuff are coming true. All right? They are manifesting now. Well, Jason, you don't see it. You're not rich yet. You're not this. It's like when you plant a garden, right? You till the ground, you get it all set, then you plant the seeds. Do you immediately see your garden grow? No. It takes about a month and a half, almost 2 months, right? But what's taking place underneath is what you can't see, the transformation, right, of that seed germinating and moving and doing all that it needs to do. And then one day, little pinprick. And somehow this little fragile plant that you could easily breathe on and bend in half pushes its way through the soil. And then all of a sudden you see this green little bud. You're like, that's the non-physical, ladies and gentlemen. When you begin to manifest, when you begin to truly believe in yourself, you truly begin to rechange and reformulate your thoughts. They become reality. Your thoughts create your reality. What you see in the world today, around you, every day, from the time you wake up till the time you sleep, have been your thoughts throughout your life. And you created what you see. So what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing has been my thoughts from the time I came out of mom. Same thing with you. Except now I've reprogrammed my subconscious mind to believe in abundance, to believe in love, to forgive unconditionally, and to love unconditionally. Things are changing, ladies and gentlemen, for me, or they have been on a massive scale. And that is my awakening process. And I'm still going through them. And it's been a journey. It's been ups and downs. And you're going to have ups and downs. Don't look at them as good and bad, right or wrong. They don't exist. Reprogram your mind, ladies and gentlemen. You attract what you create. So if you are low vibrational energy and you're in a relationship where you're being beaten as a wife or a female, right? And you keep saying to yourself, why do I keep getting these men? Why do I keep getting this shit? You want the top shelf. You want someone like me, but I'll unfortunately have nothing to do with you. I don't like your energy, and I will not sink to your level. So where you're vibrating at is what you attract. And I am attracting abundance. I'm attracting wealth. I'm attracting what is taking place and happening in my life. And that is what is coming to me. I can feel it. And it's being shown through the white feather. It's being shown through the numbers that I'm seeing, the repeating numbers. And it's shown through these tarot card readings that all of a sudden started to show up. They can't be all wrong. I mean, they're all right. Everything that they're saying, except for one or two, didn't resonate with me. But how can they be all spot on? I mean, it's eerie. It's freaky, but I also believe it without question. It's the non-physical talking to you. You have to pay attention to the clues that are coming into your world, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Because they're speaking to you through technology. They're speaking to you through numbers. They're speaking to you through your feelings. So when I tell you all, and this is what Jesus was teaching, what I am teaching you guys, a lot of that I've heard is like, he's too new age, this new age bullshit. No, ladies and gentlemen. Jesus was teaching this 2 millennia ago. The church just buried it, lied to you, and is continuing to lie to you, and will continue to lie to you until you find out the truth. You need to go within. Everything you have to do what Jesus did lies within you. It's pure and simple. The truth, and that is the truth. And the church knows it. That is why they outlawed sex, created as a sin. Sin does not exist. It is simply a lack of love. Because when I told you in my life, love is everything. That is all that is real here. Love is everything. All right? And I'm still on my awakening journey. Things are still happening. And I know since the last meeting with Archangel Michael was a year ago, coming out of sushi. Remember I told you about that whole experience. But if not, I'll go through it again. And then I'll end the video because it's quite long. Is that we came out of sushi and I was trying to date and it didn't work. It was just, her energy was too low. But anyway, that bum was sitting by the back end of my Jeep and he was just like smiling, happy to see you. Hi, I am so, and we started talking and he's like, you love video games. I'm like, who the hell do you know that? Started talking and then he was like, it's about, I'm here to help someone get a divorce. And he was looking right at the woman I was with and she just freaked out, ran and left. And ran and hid the Jeep and we started talking. He goes, it's really about the love, right? And he gave me a fist bump, He's like, love is the only thing that matters. It's really about the love. And gave me a fist bump again, and again, the same cool hand. Oh, I'll give you another story too. I'm sorry, guys. And then I turned to look. I said, yes, it is about the love. I said, I had a near-death experience 3 years ago. And that's when he stopped smiling and he got serious and he turned his head like this, off his side. He goes, I know you did. And I'm like, whoa. And then I got freaked out. And I'm like, what the hell? See if she's okay. And I turn around and he's standing in front of me and I jump and I'm like, he had his cane on the ground. He had a cane and a bag. And I'm like, how did you just get up without making any noise, right? Now, mind you, while this is taking place, no cars are driving down the road. I didn't see anybody driving through, or there's like the whole matrix just shut down around me. So this interaction could take place. And I jumped and he goes, you're Jason, right? And I'm like, wow, okay. Now, when he said that, I started to look at his face. And again, it was that same square jaw, except this time he was a dark red beard. Same trim, same look, same length, same hairstyle, same length, except dark red, right? And he was dressed in like 70s clothes, bummish clothes, dirty, He said, would you carry my bag? And, walk me to this restaurant. I said, sure. And that's when he started talking about, he says, yeah, I'm a bum. I drank about 110,000. I said, dollars worth of booze? I go, last year? He goes, no, last month. How the fuck do you drink that much? You would stink or something, but there was no smell. It was just, I'm trying to put two and two together and I couldn't. I just, and he said, would you be okay with that? I'm like, and he started to walk in front of me a little bit because I was just trying to comprehend what's going on. And I said, with what? I said, making that kind of money? And he goes, yes. Then I said, of course. He said, well, you're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel right now. I said, I'm beyond the bottom of the barrel and I have no money. He goes, yeah. And I said, would I be okay with that? I go, yeah. He goes, okay. Now he's in front of me. And he said, would you be willing to relocate? I'm right. Sure, where? And he was like, Sacramento? California? For that kind of money a month? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Warm weather and that kind of money, I'd deal with the shit that takes place out in that crab state. I'm like, sure. Yeah. And he's like, great, walk with me. And he grabbed my arm and we walked. And he's walking really shitty with this king, And I get in there, or I get him into the building, and he goes, well, it's nice talking to you, Jason. And I you too. And I said, and again, he said, you'll hear from me soon. I haven't heard from him yet. I did hear from somebody though, but that's coming up. And I said, it was a pleasure, and I patted him on the shoulder. You know, as I was almost at the door, I turned around, because now the bar was loaded with people and stuff, right? I turned around. He's not standing there. There's nobody there. Either I looked like the biggest idiot, or once again, you know, they were all angels. And I'm feeling really tired because remember, we simply exist as energy, consciousness. So, you know, me being in a lower physical realm and not of a higher vibration, yet, you know, my energy was being drained. I went home, took like a 4-hour nap. I crashed. She crashed. And we went our separate ways, which was good. But this year, Easter, I was like, I don't have money for food right at the moment. I'm like, I don't care. You know what? Screw the bills. I don't care. I'm going to eat. Now, me no longer being Catholic or Christian, I don't believe in any of that shit anymore. It's non-existent. But I wanted a good meal, so I went out, got a prime rib, got my everything that I wanted. No, I got a ham this year. Either or, I don't care what it was, but I got myself a meal. And as I was walking into the grocery store after work, there was a mother she was facing inside. And I remember looking at her, I don't know why I started looking, but there was like a 4-year-old little girl, right? She was kind of fussing and crying. Neither one of them looked at me. And I felt odd. You know, I'm like, oh, okay. I went shopping to go get my stuff. People are doing their thing, right? Oh shit, I need olive oil. Go down the aisle. The last part of my awakening that I'm going to talk about, now I'm going to let you go. I couldn't find it. It was about 15 feet in. It was a good ways in, not halfway in, but it was a good distance in. So I'm sitting here like this, and I'm going. But as I'm walking down the aisle, right, there's that mother and child again. So I just walked past them. They were like right here. I could see them. You know, they were she was again in the shopping cart. Mom was standing there. They were doing their thing, whatever, not even giving me a bit of attention. But again, I'm like, what are the coincidences of them being right here again? And I'm thinking in my head as I'm sitting down here like this. And then all of a sudden, right through the groceries, this black mass appears. And I'm like, how the fuck did you get here? You know, and he's a younger guy. Now, this one didn't look like Archangel Michael, completely different. Young, little tiny scraggly goatee, very nice. He goes, hi. Shook my hand. Can I interest you in a Bible study? Now, I'm like, and I'm still, how the fuck did he just walk through the groceries? Now, I'm not seeing anybody around anymore. Nobody's walking down the aisles. Nobody on the outskirts. Okay, and I'm looking at him and I can see the end of the aisle. And all of a sudden, that mom is standing here like this. The baby, same thing, like, no movement. I mean, none in this 5-minute interaction. None. And I'm still confused on how he could walk through the groceries. And I'm like, now I'm starting to, okay. So I'm thinking, who are you? You know? And he's like, could I interest you? And I said, no, the Bible's wrong. I said, I want no part of that. I said, thank you, young man, but no. Well, what do you mean the Bible's wrong? And I said, look. And I went through my shit. I said, it's not real. I said, it was created by the church. It's lies and bullshit. And I said, I don't want any part of it. I do thank you for your time and consideration. Right? Now, he went from my right-hand side to the left. Right? Those two that were standing there, the mom and the kid, were gone. Gone. And I looked, I'm like, where the fuck did they go? There were, you'd hear a grocery cart move. You'd hear something. Nothing. And I'm looking, he goes, well, he said, well, be prepared for the second coming. I said, there is no second coming of Christ. I said, Jesus walks this earth every single day. He incarnates to meet someone, to say, hi, how are you? Could I borrow some money? this, that, or the other. He will interact with somebody because nobody knows who the real Jesus looks like. I do. He's not some white boy from Wisconsin or the United States or North America. He was a Middle Eastern man born 2 millennia ago. He's black, real black, or mulatto or whatever, but he's black. Okay? He's not white. I said, he's not coming. He doesn't. And I said, I'm not interested. And it was a test, basically, because in what I'm trying to manifest right now is, which I'm not going to discuss, he was trying to make sure that I was going to follow through with what I said I'm going to do. Okay? It was an absolute test. And that being that was there, that angel, was my guide, Jeffrey. That was absolutely Jeffrey. And I'm pretty sure Jeffrey is a great-great-great-grandfather or something along those lines, okay? A family member, a soulmate. But either way, that was Jeffrey. And then I said, Jeffrey, no, that's okay. But I said, I truly hope you have a wonderful holiday and all of this. And he shook my hand again, hand cold. All right, there's the proof again. And then I started watching him walk away, and then I went back down like this. I'm like, I'm looking over there, and they're gone. And I turn again. He's not walking anymore. He's gone. Just like he walked through the fucking groceries on this side, he's gone. Now I see people walking down the aisles. He glitched the matrix. Okay? It was a divine intervention to make sure I'm going through with what I said I'm going to go through with. And I will not back down from it. I will not. My awakening is in full swing, and more, huge spiritual things are happening. And those are the meetings that are taking place with me. And, it was just confirmation that I'm going to do what I'm saying I'm going to do, because it is here. My manifestations, right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. Sometime this month, I do believe that everything's going to change hardcore. All right? So I'm going to leave it at that. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, that is my awakening. I'm sorry it took a little too long, but, without that background, you guys wouldn't have understood. I'm no longer Catholic. I will never be Catholic. I will never go into a church, any kind of church or religious institution. They can all go to hell. They have all lied and manipulated you beautiful beings into believing that it's something that you're not, when you are a powerful being, a multidimensional being of love, light, and energy. You're all knowing, you're all powerful, and you're all present, living multiple lives in multiple dimensions right now, and the church knows it. They know that your sexual energy is divine, given to you by your Father, by God. Right? Pure and simple. And energy cannot be destroyed. We cannot be destroyed. We are eternal. We are billions and billions and billions of years old. All right, guys, I love you. Once again, thank you for your love and support. Video went a little longer, but it was a good video, I think. I think that went really well, and I'm proud of it. But if you guys want me to cover a topic, if there's something you truly want me to talk about, put it in the comments. I read them all. I don't get into them right away because there's so much, but I eventually get to them. And again, I'm going to put it out there to all of you negative commenters. Do not comment on this video. My intuition is at 1,000%, and you get instantly deleted before I even read it. It never gets read. All right? It's simply hide user from channel. You're deleted. I delete the email. Never read. I wish you well on your journey. This channel, if you look at it, is about love and light. And it's going to remain that way. To all of you, I love you so very much. Thank you for tuning in this week, and put your comments down there. If you want a one-on-one with me, that's also in the description. It's loveandlightjason.com. That's my website, a good way for you to reach, to get a hold of me for a one-on-one. And to delve deeper into things that you want to know. I love you with all my heart. Thank you again for your kindness, your support, your monetary support, and I wish you a beautiful Sunday. I love you guys.